Hi guys! I know you guys were ready to hear Jamie O'Rourke and the Big Potato by Tommy DePoyla. And it's an Irish folk tale. We were going to read this morning, but it was taking too long in our small group, so I decided I'd do a video. So if you were hoping that you would hear the story, here it is. And I hope you enjoy it. Thank you for working and creating your potato heads. And please send me a picture. They were really fun, but I miss seeing you guys in action, creating and being able to take a picture. So please send one to me. In Ireland, they produce or plant many fields of potatoes. They're known for their potatoes. So that's why this book is created for St. Patrick's Day, and it's about the big potatoes and the leprechauns. So Jamie O'Rourke and the Big Potato. And it's dedicated to my Irish buddy, John Sullivan. And here we go. I'm going to kind of tilt the book this way, take off my glasses so I can read. Jamie O'Rourke was the laziest man in all of Ireland. He would do anything to avoid working, especially if it had to do anything with growing potatoes. Jamie O'Rourke, his wife Eileen would say, "We'll have nothing to eat this winter if you do not get out there and dig up those paddies." So they called the potatoes paddies. "Oh, the saints preserve us," Jamie whined, or, they would be provided for, in other words. Jamie would whine, me back is sore as can be. Sure as I'm telling you, wife, you'll have to go out and dig 'em up yourself. I'll break in two if I so much as get up out of this bed." So he is very lazy, and he's making his wife go out and pick the potatoes. So Eileen, who had done all the planting and all the watering and all the weeding, would go out to the tiny garden and dig up the smallest potatoes in Ireland. They just weren't very big, you can see. Because Jamie, her husband, was too lazy to dig a larger garden, and they had no money to buy better potato seeds. Then poor Eileen wrenched her back. She hurt her back and was laid up in bed. Oh my, she said. "It must, oh my, said the village woman. "Why is it that it's the first rest she has had since she married that Jamie O'Rourke?" So the other ladies are complaining too, that she's never had a chance to rest because her husband doesn't do any of the work. With Eileen in bed, Jamie began to worry. No Eileen meant no potatoes all winter, and no potatoes meant no food. "Oh, poor me," wailed Jamie. "I'm gonna starve to death. I'd best go to church and pray for potatoes. There's no telling how soon I will need to eat," he said. So even though it was midnight, Jamie set out for the church. He was about halfway down the road when he heard singing and tapping on the ground. Sure, and I wouldn't be known Sorry. Sure and I wouldn't be known, Jamie whispered. But I swear I see a leprechaun. And sure enough, sitting in a circle of ferns in the moonlight was a leprechaun singing and hammering tiny nails into the heels of the fairy boots he was making. Jamie knew just what he could do. What do you think he's going to do? Look for the gold, maybe, so he doesn't have to plant any more potato patties? Let's find out. He crept and he grabbed the little leprechaun by his coattails and he held him up. "Let me go! Let me go!" the leprechaun shouted. "Not on your life," Jamie said. "Not until you show me where you keep your gold." Now, everyone in Ireland knows that leprechauns make boots and dancing shoes for fairies, who pay for them with gold. And everyone knows that if you catch a leprechaun, he'll pay for his freedom with his pot of gold. But this leprechaun was cleverer than most. "Oh, please, mortal man, oh, please, I'm just starting out making fairy shoes. I only have 1 or 2 pieces of gold in my pot. Won't you take a wish instead of my gold?" "Why? What would I wish for, Jamie?" "Why, what would I wish for?" Jamie asked. "Me, who's about to die of starvation because my wife is sick in bed and can't dig the patties up for the winter, and they're such puny little tiny patties anyway." "Well," said the leprechaun, reaching into his pocket, "you could wish for this, the biggest patty in the world. It would last all winter and you wouldn't have to do anything more than plant 1 seed and water it." Wow. The biggest potato ever is supposed to come from that seed. That sounded wonderful to Jamie. "Done!" he shouted, and as the leprechaun dropped the seed into Jamie's hand, Jamie let go of his coattails and off the leprechaun scampered up the hill. What do you think's going to happen when he gets home and he tells his wife about buying a seed? When Eileen heard what he had done, she was furious. "Jamie O'Rourke, you're not only the laziest man in Ireland, but you are a fool as well. Giving up a pot of gold for 1 patty seed? 1 potato seed? Well, I'm going to plant this seed and water it, and you'll see," said Jamie, and out he went to the garden. Uh-oh, he must have been right. And faith, Eileen did see, in no time at all, the biggest, the fiercest, the finest potato plant had sprouted out of the ground, followed by the potato itself. It was so big it pushed up not only the dirt in the garden, but the garden shed and the corner of their cottage as well. Wow. "Well, surely now it must be ready to dig up," said Jamie. He hoed all around it, but he couldn't dig the patty out of the ground. He got a beam, like a big piece of wood, and a big rock, and he used it like a lever and tried to pry it out. He pushed and pushed and pushed, but it would not budge. as he was pondering what to do, his neighbor passed by on his way to the village. He couldn't believe his eyes. He couldn't wait to tell everyone in the village what he had seen. And before you knew it, the hill up to Jamie's was filled with villagers coming to see the big potato. Where did it come from? They asked. Jamie told them about the lucky night he had caught the leprechaun and how smart he had been. Why, anyone could have gotten a pot of gold, he said. But the biggest potato in the world? Well, that took some doing, he said. However did you outsmart that leprechaun? They all asked. Jamie hesitated and scratched his head. We'll help you dig up your patty, Jamie, if you tell us how you did it. And they grabbed shovels and hoes and started to dig. I wonder what he's going to tell him. How did he do it? He gave up the gold, right? They dug and they dug and they pushed and they shoveled until the potato flew out of its hole. It rolled down the hill faster and faster until it reached the bottom, where it bounced up high and it came to a stop. So over here it came out of the ground, it rolled down the hill, it was bouncing around, and then it came to a stop. What are we going to do now? This patty is so big that no cart, nothing can get by it. The constable complained to Father O'Malley. How's a body going to get in or out of our village now? What shall we do? The villagers wailed. Then they all looked at Jamie and said, it's your potato. You have to move it. Out of our way, out of our way. Well, Eileen spoke up. There's more enough for everyone. There's enough patty here for everyone. Why don't you all just take some home? So the villagers sawed, the villagers chopped and carted off big pieces of potato, while Jamie sat on the stone wall and watched. All winter long, everyone had potatoes to eat and eat and eat and eat and eat until no one wanted to see or hear about another potato again. Ugh. They were all getting tired of eating potato. They started, look at, you can see she starts off happy, then she's not sure, and then she's like, ugh, potatoes again. In the spring, Jamie said, I saved a potato eye. Remember we talked about the eyes of the potato, the little dots? So Jamie saved an eye, or kind of like a seed, and he was just about ready to plant it. Oh no, oh no, oh no, the villagers all cried. If you promise not to plant it, Jamie, we will promise before St. Patrick's and all of the saints to see that you and Eileen always have plenty to cook and eat. We don't want another giant potato patty around here. Jamie smiled and agreed. What a perfect life for a lazy man. Look, they're all going to do all the planting, and he does not have to plant another seed. And so you see, darling Eileen, Jamie told her, I wasn't such a fool with that leprechaun after all. And Eileen had to admit that Jamie O'Rourke was right. And there's the leprechaun making lots of gold with his fairy shoes. All right, thank you guys. Happy St. Patrick's Day. Maybe you're eating some potatoes tonight. Or brisket, what is it? I can't remember. Oh, shoot. Anyway, have a great St. Patrick's Day, and I hope you enjoyed the book, and we'll see you tomorrow. Bye.